Hey guys, so in this video I'm just going to do a really quick overclocking guide for beginners. So we're just going to do CPU frequency. Now I'm using a X79 Intel CPU, but the steps will be the same no matter what kind of CPU you're using. Just make sure that your voltage and temperatures are in line with the CPU you're using, as yours may be different than mine. So the first thing we're going to do is go to the main tab, and there we can see our frequency right there. It's at 3.2. So I'm just going to change it to 4, and I'm going to change the voltage to 1.35 volts. We're just going to save and reset. See if we can get into Windows. Alright, so we've set our frequency and voltage. So we have to figure out if it's stable and what temperatures the CPU will operate at that voltage under load. So I'm going to be using ASUS as well as hardware info. So we're just going to open up hardware info. And again, your temperatures that you are seeing might be different than mine. Different CPUs, different platforms do have a different maximum temperature. So just Google your CPU, see what is the maximum safe temperature and voltage. The same goes for voltage. Each CPU will have its own voltage range that it will be safe to operate that CPU in. So just Google it, figure out where you're at, and notice your temperatures. Your maximum temperatures are probably most important. These will tell you how hot your CPU is getting. So we're just going to open up AIDA64, Tools, System Stability Test, and we are going to check CPU, FU, and cache. Now what this will do is stress our CPU out. And it will make sure not only that we're operating in safe temperatures, but if our voltage is not enough, it will tell us by, usually the Windows will blue screen and you'll have to restart. So as you can see, we're at 100% usage, and our CPU is high 40s, low 50s. That's perfectly fine. Usually when I'm testing this, just to see if voltage and a clock are stable, I'll only do it for a few minutes. To check for long-term stability, you really want to use something like Prime 95, maybe 15-20 minutes. And then I find the best way to just stress test your system is just use it. Whether it's a gaming system or a multimedia machine, you're encoding videos, just do, and it'll show if it's unstable or not. So we're just going to stop that, we're going to reset. So usually if I'm finding a frequency that the CPU is good at a given voltage, I only run AIDA64 about like a minute or two. That's all you really need to see if it's okay. Because right now we're at a pretty low frequency, so I want to go higher. So we're going to enter the BIOS. Now we're at 4, so I'm going to put 4.0 or 44. So that will give us 4,400 megahertz. We're still at 1.35. I'm going to save and reset. So we're back into Windows now. So I'm just going to start up ASUS and hardware info again. Start RA stability test, CPU FPU cache, hit start, see what happens. It's about 30 seconds. So what I'm going to do is reset it again. And I'm actually just trying to get it to blue screen for the video, just so I can show you guys. So I'm going to put it to something I know will blue screen. So I'm going to put it at 5. And I'm going to change this to 1.25. Just to demonstrate what happens when you do not have enough voltage. So as you can see, it's been at the starting window screen for quite a while. And you can pretty much expect your computer to be acting strange when it doesn't have enough voltage. It can freeze like this, it'll blue screen. So at this point we know Windows will not start. So I'm just going to reset. Pretty much works for all CPUs. So what you want to do is increase your frequency, increase your voltage until you don't experience any freezing or blue screens. And then once you're comfortable at that voltage, assuming it's a proper temperature, you can actually start dropping the voltage and see what your minimum voltage is required. Because as you start increasing voltage, you actually increase temperatures, and that is not a good thing. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to change this to something I know that works. So I put it at 1.47 volts just to show you that a high overclock like that will increase your temperatures. So if you remember, our temperatures running ASUS was high 40s, low 50s. So we're going to run this for about a minute. And we're going to see what we get. So there are our temperatures. So I'm going to CPU FPU cache. We're going to start it up. And already you can see we've hit 61C, 63C, 68C, 66C. So as you can see, they're already significantly hotter than they were before, by about 15C or so. So we're gonna stop ASUS. And there's actually another tool I like using that's quite good at determining if you're pretty stable. I still recommend just using your computer to tell you whether your computer is stable or not. But Real Bench is a pretty good tool. It stresses your computer with video encoding and image editing and a bunch of different things that tries to simulate real workloads. So let's just run that benchmark. This also has a stress test function, so you can do that as well. It's basically the same thing, it just loops it. So we haven't actually seen as high temps with Real Bench yet as with AIDA64. But you have to keep in mind AIDA64 is meant to stress out the CPU. It's not a very realistic test. Okay. Okay. So Real Bench did complete successfully. So just to recap, what you want to do when you first start overclocking is you download hardware info. There are a few other applications that do the same thing. It just takes readings of your sensors on your motherboard and CPU. And you're going to look for your CPU vCore. So you're going to see what it is. So 1.1, 1.2, probably somewhere around there. So then you're going to restart. You're going to increase your frequency until you become unstable. Then you're going to take the number that was your vCore when you started, and you're just going to increase it until you are stable, and then restart the whole process. Now, you don't want to increase it by too much at one time. Before you start, it's a good idea to look up safe voltages and temperatures for your CPU. Those do differ. They can differ quite a bit. Hope this video is helpful. Like, subscribe, comment down below, and I'll see you next time.